When I was trying to plan something to say today, I couldn't figure out who I should be planning on speaking to, you know, like I wish that I could be speaking to psychiatrists, but they don't listen to me when they're being paid to, so I don't expect them to be listening today. And we set up a live stream, and so I thought it'd be nice to speak to the public, but I don't know if I really actually did a good job setting up the live stream. So really the most practical thing, good, then the most practical thing would be to speak to all of you, because you actually showed up today. Problem is, I don't know if there's anything I can tell you that you don't already know about forced psychiatry. That's why you're here. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to pretend that the psychiatrists are actually listening and that this live stream is working. And, you know, I have a pretty good imagination. Having delusions of grandeur are actually one of my special superpowers. So this should work all right. When I first started speaking openly about psychiatry 5 years ago, I started doing it through stand-up comedy. I thought that somehow through comedy I could somehow spread a message. You know, I grew up seeing black comedians speak about the truth of racism and helping people in their community. I thought maybe somehow I could do that for mental illness. And given that none of you have any idea who the hell I am, you can tell that's not going very well. But what I realized is that when I would go and I would tell jokes, you know, nobody knows that there's a movement. Nobody knows that we exist. So I just come off as some crazy guy that probably deserves to be locked up. Whereas black comedians, people know the black people who exist. They're interested, they're curious, they want to learn about their struggle. Nobody knows about the psychiatric survivor movement. And that's really unfortunate that more people don't know about us because we don't have the liberty to speak up. We're kind of all hiding, we're in the shadows. And I don't feel like comfortable speaking on behalf of the movement. So all I can do is talk about my own experiences. It's not, you know, everyone has their own thing. So it's okay for me, I guess, to make jokes about my story because my stuff is funny because I got out. I got out of the system, right? So, like, I can laugh about it, but there's a lot of people that are still stuck in it. I mean, we got a fucking casket here, right? There's people that are dying. Serious. And, like, so it's not, you know, it's okay for me to make a joke about my stuff because, you know, it's funny if I'm tied up in a 4-point restraint and I want to get revenge at the people that locked me up and left me in a room so I could slowly pull the hospital gown so they got to keep looking at my naked body, right? That's kind of funny. If they won't let me wear my clothes and they force me to wear the hospital gown and so I piss all over myself so that they got to change the gown, like, that's kind of funny, right? It's my story, it's funny. If I take a shit in the floor in their bathroom in the hospital and then I go tell them that somebody did that and they have to go clean up after me, like, it's funny. Like, I feel good about that. The problem is that their response is that that's crazy, that that's a symptom of my illness. And I'm not here to say that these are normal things. Normal people act like that, but I'll tell you this. If you take any person and you put them in a situation where they're locked up against their will and all their agency and all their dignity is taken away from them, they'll resort to whatever measures they can to feel a sense of ownership of themselves. And that's just the reality of it, right? And I was never once violent. I've been locked up 4 different times. Not once was I violent. And I wonder, you know, am I nonviolent because I believe in nonviolence? Is that like a moral thing? Or is the reality that when you literally are completely locked up, helpless, drugged, being violent ain't an effective strategy? You know, like, it just ain't gonna work. You know, if you were being raped and you used violence as a defense, no one would hold that against you. No one would see any issue with it, right? But if you were locked up in the building and there was no escape, in your mind you would think, oh, if I resist, that's only going to make my punishment worse. So you end up not resisting to it. And, you know, a lot of the people in the psychiatric survivor movement talk about forced psychiatry feeling like they're being raped. And I know it's a graphic idea, but when you think about it visually, when you think about being tied down to a fucking bed, when you think about having someone getting on you and penetrating you with a needle and injecting a fluid into your body against your will, and then all of a sudden the drapes close on your consciousness and you're never the same, it's not that different. Though there is one big difference, I suppose, between forced psychiatry and being raped, and that is that if you're raped, you believe that you can go to doctors for help and you can go to the police for help. But with forced psychiatry, it's doctors that are doing it to you, that's often the police that are surrounding you, holding you down, and it's judges that are court ordering these things to happen to people. So where do you get your help from? Who do you go? There's really nowhere to go to. So we come, can I do, I mean, like, I'm in the middle of this thing, I know, like, we could talk after. Okay. I'm hurting you?
Yes, and what I would like to say.
Well, I don't mean to hurt you. Like I said, I can only speak about my experience. And if you want to come up and speak about your experience, that's fine. But I don't know if it's necessary for you to interrupt me in the middle of my speaking. I can totally talk to you after. You can come up. Then you can come up and you can speak to everybody when you want to.
How about waiting until we're over here, and then you can speak to us all. You
Really?
can even have the microphone.
You know, and I don't feel good that I've hurt you in some way with my words. I don't like the idea that I'm in some way dividing you. I'm not trying to here to speak on behalf of you. I'm only here to try to tell you what I feel and how. And so I'm sorry that I really am sorry your feelings are being hurt by what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Jim. I have something to say.
No, it's all right. You know what? The point is this. Regardless, no, thank you, Dorothy. But the point is that you're fucking hurting people. You think that you're treating people, right? You came in here, you threw off my game. I should be better at shutting down a heckler, but I don't know. I feel bad that I've hurt someone's feelings, and I don't feel good about that.
I think
It's all good. I'm frustrated because I lost my train of thought and where I was going with this thing. The judges, yeah, they do that thing where they force drugs on you. Yeah. Where do you go? I'm doing all right. Yeah. So yeah, 4 different times I've been locked up. 4 different times. Right? 4 different teams of doctors independently came to the conclusion that I had some sort of neurochemical imbalance, that I would be permanently disabled for the rest of my life, and that the only way that I would ever be well would be to take medication. 4 different teams of doctors, 4 different states independently came to that conclusion. Yet here I stand. I'm a little bit a little emotional in the moment, but in general, pretty damn stable, not on medication. Doing all right. I work, I'm happy, I enjoy my life. So one has to wonder, are these doctors wrong? Were they all right and I was just cured by the drugs that they forced on me? Because that's never happened, so I'd be the first. Or did they all independently make the same mistake? Or is it possible that it's all bullshit? It's possible. And I've talked to a lot of other people who have gone through the same experience, that have gone through the system and have recovered. And nobody gets to hear those stories. Those stories aren't broadcast in infomercials promoting psychiatric drugs. Nobody knows that the survivors exist. You know, they are all around us. They're at the grocery store, checking out behind us at the aisle. They're taking our order at a restaurant. Some of them are running for political office and we vote them in. Some of them run Fortune 500 companies that we invest stock in. But nobody talks about it because if you knew that they had a psychiatric history, you wouldn't invest in their damn company. If you knew that they had a psychiatric history, you wouldn't vote for them. So all the people that have that level of power have to keep their mouths shut. Yet the reality is that we're out here, we're not alone, and we're not bad people. We're very nice, we're very loving people. Some of the nicest, kindest people I've ever met in my life, I've met through the psychiatric survivor movement. And it frustrates me a lot that the world is scared of people with a mental illness, because the truth is you have no reason to be scared of us. We're far more scared of you than you need to be of us. All right, that's all. Thanks.